the Arsenal-West Ham game. We'll briefly touch on that, of course. We are recording this before Arsenal play Olympiacos, so touch wood, they'll come through with no injuries, but it's Arsenal. You can never guarantee that. But yes, looking ahead to the West Ham game this weekend. So I think it's a 3 p.m. kickoff on the Saturday, and Liverpool play Chelsea at 5:30 in the evening. So even just for a couple of hours, Arsenal could go top of the table with a win. And like I say, it may only be about 2 hours or so if Liverpool get the job done against Chelsea in the evening kickoff. But just going top of the league, even for that short period of time, like how big a chance is this to just really unsettle Liverpool at this early stage of the season?
Yes, a good opportunity. Look, Arsenal have had a really difficult start to the season. Really tough start to the season. They're only 2 points behind after these first 6 games. When they've been to Anfield, they've been to St James's, they've been to Old Trafford, they've played Manchester City. If you'd have offered certainly me or most Arsenal fans at the start of the season, I think they would have absolutely taken it. Now we're into that little patch now that everyone was looking at after this first 6 games, where it's like, right, you get through those and then you really start to try and build momentum. And Liverpool now enter in a patch which is difficult. They've got some really tough games coming up over the next 5 or 6 fixtures. So this is an opportunity now for Arsenal. They've come through the really, really tough start that everyone was focusing on. Now it's the time to kick on. And that Newcastle game, the result, it came at such an important point, I think, just before this little running. It's just given them that boost to really go into it. So yeah, it's a really big opportunity. You've got to put your foot down now. Try and put some pressure on Liverpool, who have not been at their best the whole season. There are a few questions being asked of them now and their quality, their issues at the back, all that sort of stuff. So, this is where you can apply some pressure, get your wins, especially when you're playing first, and see how Liverpool can respond. I mean, I just don't understand what's happened against West Ham the last couple of home games. The performance, they've Arsenal been dreadful in both of those. Last season's was undoubtedly the worst home game of the season, the performance-wise, and it probably was the season before as well, for whatever reason, because Arsenal scored about 15 million goals in the 2 games they've played away from West Ham at West Ham Stadium the last couple of years. So they've got to put that out of their minds. Don't worry about that. Start afresh, go again. Just beat what's in front of you at the weekend. You can do that, then it's over to Liverpool, and Arsenal can sit there with their feet up and see how they get on.
Yeah, that is so curious. Their form against West Ham, like you say, scoring 5 or 6 or away goals, in 2 or 3 games in a row, then just being completely nullified at the Emirates. And yeah, I think we couldn't purge the memories of that 1-0 defeat from last season quickly enough. And this is a West Ham side who are now under Nuno Espirito Santo after the sacking of Graham Potter. He started his reign with a 1-1 draw against Everton on Monday night. I'm not sure if you saw much of that game, but from what you've seen if you did see that game or just West Ham's season as a whole, are you concerned about the prospect of this home hoodoo continuing, or are you still expecting a routine win for Arsenal, even if this supposed curse is still hanging over their heads?
I'm expecting a win for Arsenal. I've not seen anything from West Ham to make me think they can do anything against Arsenal at the Emirates. Famous last words, of course, but they've been really, really poor this season. They needed to make a change. It wasn't working with Potter. I think that was very, very clear last season, and especially clear at the early stages of this season. Nuno's a good manager. I think it's a decent appointment. I think he will sort them out. He'll improve them. I don't think they'll have to worry about relegation come the end of the season with Nuno in charge. But I think as long as Arsenal play well this weekend, that they should have far too much for this West Ham side. You keep Jared Bowen quiet, and I think you're pretty much okay when it comes to West Ham. So that's got to be the issue. It's obviously Bowen who scored the goal at the Emirates last season, who won the game for them there. So look, it's not going to be a walkover. It's the Premier League. Very, very, very rarely you're going to get those. But Arsenal play well, and they've got nothing to fear from this West Ham side.
Touchwood for that. And just briefly touching on the team news. So, as I say, we still got to get through this Olympiacos game, but, presuming that Arsenal's big hitters will come out okay. I think Arteta's got quite a big dilemma on the left-hand side. I think, Trossard has started the last 2 Premier League games. Eze, as we said, was in the middle against Newcastle, but now Odegaard could come back there. Martinelli's not really been given much of a look in from the start recently. Would you like to see him given a chance against West Ham, or do you think Eze would be the better fit there if Odegaard goes centrally? It's quite a intriguing dilemma on that side, isn't it?
It is, and he hasn't really had to make these decisions yet because of Odegaard's injury for a while and since Eze has come in. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does set the side out. I think Odegaard will start, providing he's come through whatever minutes he's got in midweek. Okay, I think this will be the game we see Odegaard come back into the starting lineup. And then it is just a question of what you do on the left-hand side. I think it will probably be Eze I'd imagine. I think we'll see Declan Rice in where he always plays, and Eze on the left. I think it's quite interesting, like you said, that Martinelli hasn't really got a look in on the left side. Trossard has started the last two league games. I was very surprised um, when he started against Man City, and I was almost as equally as surprised when he started against Newcastle as well. I thought he played well against Newcastle, to be fair, Trossard. I thought he had a good game. But the fact that he's still getting the nod ahead of Martinelli is quite interesting, I think. So no, I think we'll probably see Eze over there for the time being at the start. Maybe obviously that will change in game.